to the L-5 podcast. We are back with another episode of the L-5 podcast with a full feature film. Tonight's film was Army of the Dead.
What is this? It's a goddamn zombie tiger. That's crossing the line.
And Dana, this was your pick.
Yes.
Would you like to lead us off with the conversation tonight and give us your 17-minute review?
Sure, absolutely. So everybody knows I love me a good zombie flick. So that's why I was drawn to this. So this was on Netflix, I believe. And just a real quick overview of the premise. We've got a group of people. Let's start. Las Vegas has been taken over by zombies, and it has been cut off from the rest of the U.S., but we've got some people who want to break into the area because they want to steal some money. And so obviously to get in there and get to the safe and steal money, they have to manage to survive past all the zombies. And, you know, what happens with that is basically a really, really high level premise of what's going on here. So for the first 17 minutes, this is what I wrote. I was grossed out, on edge. I laughed all within the first 17 minutes. I am here for this. Also, what's up with the rolled up plans, bulls? Because I don't know if y'all saw this, but when he took them plans out that tube, he laid them down, y'all, they were flat. Now, I don't know about y'all, but when I take stuff out, it just rolled right on. Matter of fact, both sides probably roll into each other, if anything. So I was like, now come on. You got to be a little bit better than that. I wrote, we all know that would have rolled right back up when he opened them. So the initial 17 minutes, I was really excited. This started, you know, I mentioned to Corey, this kind of started like the last movie that we looked at, The Mitchells and the Machines, I think, where it just started off action. So I have some thoughts on that, but I'll talk about it later. But anyway, definitely during the first 17 minutes, I was here for it. So now I'm going to kick it over to Jeremy. Jeremy, tell me what you thought about it.
What was your score, Dana?
Oh, as y'all know, my score is it's either going to be a 2 or it's going to be a 4 or, you know, maybe a 5 or a 1. But basically, I stay away from 3. So I would give this a 4. I was there for it. I was ready.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay, Jeremy.
Okay, thank you, Dana. I like, it's an interesting movie because it was one of those like #1 rated movies on Netflix. If you open up the, platform, you'll see these rankings. And so I was glad you picked it because I like zombie films as well as blood and gore. I like that type of, me and Dana connect in that level. We want to see it. We want to see quality and we want to see it done professionally. So I like the opening sequence. I think it was one of the better ones. I didn't know Zack Snyder did the director of photography because, I pay attention to the images, the imagery. And I felt it kind of interesting. I don't know if you all caught it, but the zoom in and zoom out angles, I immediately saw like characters, at least Dave Bautista a couple times, like the background was blurred and the camera angle would be coming in and out. And I really liked that. Like that kind of different way of shooting a film was pretty cool to me. And I wanted the rest of the film to follow that. So that's one of the first things I saw. The opening was pretty good. I really liked that, as well as like Dana was saying, we got right into the action. We got a lot of music, we got a soundtrack, and the character development I knew was coming. I wasn't expecting a lot in the first 17. I just wanted a premise of who we're talking about for the main story. It was definitely, I agree with you, Dana. I put a 4 for mine. And I put, there was not a lot of cons. There was more pros to me than cons in the first 17. I knew that this was a long film because if you open up Netflix, it tells you the, length. I was like 2 hours and 20, so I'll just see what it's about. But in the first 17, I'll take what it gives me and I'll take it for face value. So it was a 4 and I kept it there until, later on. So I will defer to Stacy.
Okay. Really, I'm glad Dana chose this one because, get the little thing from Netflix that tells you, things you may be interested in, you can check off. And that's like, this is one of the things I had checked off to be like, notify me when this comes out. And then when she said it was hers and we had to wait till Wednesday, I was like, I planned on watching that when it came out on Friday. but the first 17 minutes, I really enjoyed them. I thought it was at first I was like, was it what kind of zombie movie was going to be? Because it's like Army of the Dead. And I was like, was it going to be horror zombie, more horror, or is it going to be campy horror zombie? And in the first 17 minutes, when you see topless zombies, I was thinking it's going to lean toward a little bit campy. But it actually, well, as we go on, it wasn't as campy as, as I thought. It's like, okay, the topless zombie, thing and all that. But the whole beginning montage was like Viva Las Vegas, because you hear them and then you see, the showgirl zombies. And then, if you've ever been to Vegas, you're like, okay, you're gonna have the male stripper zombies, and then you're gonna have the bride and the bridal party, and you see everything you see in Vegas. You see people, playing the slot machines, and and just every little section of Vegas. And what happens? You saw Elvis, the Elvis impersonator, and everybody's been zombified. And when the first thing came out, I thought it became more campy with it might be a little bit campy when it was that topless zombies. But before that, I was thinking it's okay, serious zombie with, the army, they're trying to transport so-and-so, and they're, what do they call it? The Four Horsemen? Was that
the Horsemen? They did.
The Horsemen. They call the Horsemen. It's like, oh, okay. The Four Horsemen, And of course, the whole somebody got married in Vegas. And of course, and it never ends well. If you're going to do that in a car, if you're going to give a blowjob in a car, somebody's going to die. At night it's dark. And if you saw like American Gods, you see that somebody's ended up dying from that. So why do it? So, and how when they called in and say, hey, y'all need to run. And when the army tells you, get out. But it was just that first 17 minutes, I'm going to have to say, I was expecting it was going to be good, and I was going to enjoy it. So the first 17 minutes, most definitely, it was a 4. So I was like ready for it to go. It was okay, excited. And then someone said how long it was. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, I got worried too. I was like, oh, I don't know.
What? Can we keep this up for this amount of time? But other than that, I really enjoyed it. It's like, okay, I like all the montages, the scenes, and how they kind of showed you about each character, that little group before you even really get started. So, I know character development, some of you don't really have it, but you kind of saw their background in that first thing. Like, oh, you saw the soccer mom looking for her kid. And then, spoilers, it's for 17 minutes, she finds it, and then they don't make it. And him and his wife, and how he had to kill his wife in front of his daughter, and just okay, the black guy, and I'm probably taking more time.
It's fine.
I was thinking, as soon as, when you first see all the character actors, and it's like, okay, stereotype. It's like, okay, the magical Negro, but he's not because he had philosophy, and they showed his little thing, philosophy. So he's gonna be the magical Negro, and then later on, I was like, oh gosh, it gave me Tropical Thunder vibes. He was that character in Tropical Thunder for a second. And that's also why I thought more campy, because of that. And then I saw that, I was like, okay. But overall, I was really excited for it. So I would say 4.
4.
Mm-hmm. Who are you nominating to go next?
Oh, I'll go ahead, Brian. You can go next.
Right. For my 17, I gave it a 4 too. So that it went really fast. When we were kind of all taken by surprise that it was 17 minutes already. We need to stop, right? So it had a beginning scene with all the soldiers protecting the payload en route through the desert, and the first zombie escaped. So that all happens in the first 17 minutes. Then the very most epic battle movie for the credits, the whole thing is just this action scene, and we were a little worried that that's all the action we were going to get. And then it was going to be like this really slow 3-hour feeling movie. But it didn't do that. But then it went to the third part of the 17 minutes was setting up the heist. So there was a scene with the babysitter, the babysitter spy, our main hero, who must be smart for a muscle man because he's wearing glasses.
Or old. I thought old. I think I was a little too personal with that, I guess.
The hero leader because he's smart. So, but anyway, I thought it was kind of funny that he kind of struggled getting them onto his face. When he put them on, he was kind of struggling, like he just needed some more help with prop work as an actor. But anyway, it was still kind of cute, and I thought that it was a little sad. But anyway, I am not a big zombie fan. I'm not a fan of super bloody carnage, but this is the kind of movie where the meat bags are gonna explode like they were on stage at a Gallagher show. So, and they did. So this was great. 17 in, I was ready for it too. I was there, and I'm giving it a 4 on the 17.
Awesome.
Taking a stand away from those threes. Got it.
So does anybody want to guess what my score was for the first 17 minutes?
I was with you.
It was a 4, just like everybody else. It was a 4. We'll just go ahead and get that out of the way. I felt the same way that everybody else was feeling. I wrote the fastest and most exciting 17 minutes I've seen in a long time. Where did they go from here? Wouldn't it be crazy if this was all action we've seen for the rest of the movie? So it's interesting because the trailer I've seen at least like 3 times, and everything in the trailer is what happens in the first 17 minutes. Like there may be a small portion of what happens later on in the film in the actual trailer, but most of what you see is that montage in Vegas. And so when I'm watching it, I'm going, damn, they're just showing basically everything we see in the trailer. What can they do for the next 2 hours? And I was scared, just like some other people have said, that it was just going to be slow and boring. They were going to be in a bunker somewhere around a round table, coming up with an idea of how they were going to go in there and, get whatever it is that they needed to get out. So I was a little bit worried about that. And I wrote, I love Bautista. He seems so cool and someone I'd love to hang out with. I'm loving this opening. And it also felt like in the first 17 minutes that this was like a short film. Like they easily could have taken that first chunk right after the montage of the credits and then just said scene, and made it like a student film. Like that totally could have been like a short student film because there was so much there with character and the start of the zombie apocalypse type of thing, and then you have a big action scene. And that's really all you needed to turn it into a short film if you wanted to. So yeah, I was on board. 4 stars, absolutely. So Dan, do you want to finish the conversation and let us get into the rest of this 2-hour epic?
Sure will.
And spoiler alert for anybody who is watching this, we're going to throw up a spoiler alert right now because the only way that you can talk about this movie in depth, I feel like, is if you spoil the entire thing of what happens.
Warning, 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 warning.
All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is Bautista. So I have to say, and I talked to Corey about this, so I'm excited to see some of the wrestlers come up and, change up kind of what they're doing, not just wrestling, but also getting into acting and other things. And so I think 3 of the biggest ones, and I know there have been others that we've seen, but, The Rock and John Cena as well, I would have to say that Bautista is actually one of my favorite. Well, I'm sure The Rock is probably the most popular of the 3. Bautista, from an acting standpoint, is my favorite. I see The Rock, I've seen him in everything from when he was the Tooth Fairy to Jumanji to this one thing where I think he was driving the truck and somebody killed his son. I don't know. So I've seen, yeah, okay, yeah. And I've seen him in all these, that was great. Anyway, I've seen him in all these different roles, but that Rock character is still always there for me, right? Like, I feel like his his character isn't as diverse, or his range, and maybe not through any fault of his, but all of those, you see some of the Rock in them, right? I feel like with Bautista, I expect him to be, because he's a big guy, you expect him to be, one way, but he comes off as another way. And the I Spy, or was it I Spy? That movie, we talked about that, about how we thought it was going to be one way and it was completely opposite. And I saw a different side of him, a softer, funny side of him, and I loved it. In this movie, he's a little bit more, like he's a dad, he's got, a girl, a daughter, and, they're having some issues or whatever. So we see a little bit more sensitive side, but then we see the side that we expect, which obviously is that, big guy muscle. But I just feel like he has a better range. So I just kind of want to put it out. So speaking of which, I think we were all talking about how that first 17 minutes, the action was great. Okay, so then the next 17 minutes for me personally started to go downhill and I got worried. And mainly because what we were doing at this point is really digging a little bit more into backstory, particularly around Bautista and his daughter. And before you tell me I'm cold-hearted, Stacey, I felt like ultimately, I liked that we did get some backstory with these characters, because each one of the characters I actually cared about a little bit, at some point throughout this movie. I didn't want harm, to come to people who weren't being jerks, right? So I actually cared. This wasn't like some of the movies, like when we talked about Godzilla, we didn't care about if everybody died, it didn't matter. So I appreciate that they gave us that backstory. I thought it was too long of a backstory. And it was too slow, because it's like, you got me all excited and then it's just like grass growing. And so I was a little bit bothered by that. I told Corey I was confused about where some of the characters came from when they came together as a group. I missed two of the characters, the guy who walked away, don't even remember his name, and the girl who ultimately got killed. I think she was the first person in the group who got killed. I didn't really understand that they were friends of the YouTube guy.
Yeah, they were friends. And at first I actually saw it again today. So I tell you something. So because I was to see that, some things I thought I might have missed. And that's when I noticed that they came with him. Because at first I was like, how did he come up? Because they did a little thing about searching the people to be in their group. They weren't there, but that's how they got into them, was because of their friends, the YouTube guy, and they're part of his crew or clique.
So I don't want to take away everything everybody's got to say, because I got a lot of stuff to say, but I think other people may say it too. But the one thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to claim because I want to, speaking of those meat bags, y'all, that movie gave me what I wanted. Okay, let me tell you, if you do not like gore, this movie is not for you. But here's the thing I have to say about the gore. Not only did it give what it was supposed to give, it gave it in some creative ways that I necessarily either haven't seen or surely was not expecting. So let me just say that I love the scene with the guy in between the wall. That was just like, I was like, oh yeah. I mean, there were a lot of scenes. The scene with the tiger and the man at the end, that was the scene, y'all. I'm telling you, I just thought it was done, to me, it was done well. Like, it didn't seem cheesy or stupid or anything. It was like legit. This is what people would really do. I felt like if a zombie comes or a zombie tiger comes to attack you, he's not just going to bite your arm and let you turn or leave you to die, So I felt like it gave me what I was looking for, and I was really excited about that.
Yeah,
so,
that big kitty cat played with his food just a little bit, didn't he?
And honestly, even when they were first going in there and the cat looked like he was going to do some, tiger looked like he was going to do something, and he just got in the car and laid down, that's exactly what animals would have done. I told Corey, I said, that's what Pop-Tart would have done. That's what somebody's cat would have done. Oh, you think you get ready to do something, they just lay down, yawn, whatever. Like, I felt like that tiger, even though I had some questions about it, like, how did Zombie Man tame the zombie tiger? Because it's not like he can speak to animals. So unless he was that tiger's trainer, then I didn't really understand that. But I'll get into some more things I wasn't quite sure about going into this. So I didn't. That wasn't realistic to me at all. But I didn't care. At this point, I was just like, give it to me. So.
I think I'll echo exactly what you're saying, Dana. Is that I was here for everything. After the first 17 minutes, the exposition and the backstory of all the characters, it didn't really bother me as much because I was like, you have to have that in order for you to care about what's going to happen to them moving forward. But it did move a little bit slow, and I was like, we do have a lot of time still left that we needed to do certain things, and the heist part and the action part of it can't be but so long, right? So how much longer is this exposition and stuff going to be? So I liked all of that, and I liked how they told you each character was something different. It was almost kind of like a Ocean's 11 type of feel to it to me when they were recruiting these people. So I really liked all of that, and I liked the people who were actually portraying them. What I found that was interesting was I'm kind of played out with the whole zombie genre. Like there's just so much zombie content out there from TV shows to movies. I'm like, what can they do differently with this movie than they do every other movie? And I think they were trying to use the fact that some of these zombies, some breed of them were actually smarter than others. And there was more like a community and more like a I don't know what the word is I'm trying to look for, but basically these zombies were going to be different and smarter than the other ones. So that was going to be their hook, that this was going to be different than any other film. And I didn't really feel that part of it, but the action and everything that was there, as far as the blood and guts that we were talking about, like that is what I was actually here for. There's even certain things where like there's the character who was a safecracker, and he doesn't really know how to use a gun and everything like that. And there's fear in him in certain scenes. And I was like, that was perfect, because I laughed because I was like, that would have been me. When he's standing there and the guy comes up beside him and he scares the shit out of him and he shoots him for like 4 times. Yeah, that scream was so real. I was like, I wonder if they like planted something to make it so he didn't know somebody was coming, and you get that natural scare, because there were moments like that that made me care and made it more realistic. Even with the girl who Dana said she didn't know where she came from, that was in that same group of people from the YouTube, when she's in there with the hibernating zombies, and the guy, basically sets her up to die. Me and Dana are going, no, please let her get out. Like, we wanted her to get out. So they gave you just enough character development with each person, even with sub characters like that made you care about it. I was like, no, we want her to get out. I did not want her to die.
I want to. While we're talking about that, let's talk about that scene.
Yeah.
In zombie movies, somebody, okay, they're the next person that's going to go, and you're walking around this little forest of sleeping zombies. It's like, man, that she's going to go quick.
Oh yeah,
but she didn't. That was the greatest sequence.
It was a great scene.
It was so good.
It was so good. So good. And I didn't know how that was going to play out, because it was like, they're doing the whole light thing, and I'm like, okay, well, this is stupid. Like, that's not going to work. I mean, somebody's just going to get eat real quick, boom, boom, gone. And they played it out so well. They let her fight back. I was just like, that's great. To me, that was
did anyone, like, I knew she was going to die. You knew she was going to. And she broke the cardinal rule. You do not tell someone you suspect is a bad guy, I know you're a bad guy. I'm going to tell people when we get together. You never do that. Every time you do that, they're like, well, I'm gonna kill you. I mean, that always happens. Like, I know you're the murderer, and I'm the only one that knows you're the murderer. And then I'm gonna go to the police. It's like, yeah, I'll kill you before you do that. And she did the same thing. He didn't say I know you're the murderer, but I know you're something shady with you. And she did that, so I'm gonna be behind you. And she didn't tell no one else that she, and so he got rid of her. As soon as she said that, I was like, something's going to happen to her. And he went ahead of her. I was like, yeah, he's gonna do something where she's gonna get lost behind him.
Okay, I get that. I get that. So I expected that to happen, but then at the same time, when something like that does happen, that person is gone really quick after they make that left turn. So they gave her enough time to fight back, and I'm like,
They faked you out.
Yeah, so maybe she won't die.
I agree with that.
A good fake out.
Yeah, it was a very good fake out because I was like, at any moment she gonna die, and I'm like, okay. But the fact that they closed her off, right? And he says, well, I don't know what happened to her. She's gone, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, that's it. We're done. She breaks through the glass. I'm like, there is a moment she can still survive. And I was pulling for it.
And I felt like she needed to die.
Yeah.
I did think it was way too much, right? Yeah. Like, come on now. But I love the way they did it because you're right. They didn't give it to me like I expected it to happen at all. Right. Like I knew that once the door and everything, she won't coming out of there. Did I expect her to bust through the wall or window or whatever that was? And no, I wouldn't. I didn't see that coming because I knew she was dead, but eventually, yes, she is killed. But again, I felt like she needed to die. Mm-hmm. So, I was okay with that. But what this scene really reminded me of is one of my favorite scenes in Silent Hill. I don't know if anybody has seen those movies.
Yeah, I love Silent.
Do you know the nurses in the scene with all the women that are nurses and they don't have faces or anything and they're just standing still and they only react to you if you make noise? That scared me so bad when I first saw that scene, but it was so amazing to see it. And that's kind of what it reminded me of. But one thing I was going to say now that you brought up that whole scene with the zombies, not dehydrated. That's hibernating. And with the dehydration, they were talking about when it rains, they come back. None of that was explained. That's not typical zombie genre stuff. I've never heard of that before. So I thought, I kind of wanted to know, like, what?
Yeah.
But I think that was left unsaid because now we're talking about a 4-hour movie. So I realized they can't give me background on how all this started, how they actually work or anything. But I just thought that was weird because what are they hibernating for? Blood? Like, bears come back out of hibernation to get food because they know it's going to be there. Like, how do they come out of hibernation to go get blood when they're never going to get any? Like, there's nothing there. I didn't know. I don't know. I was like, what makes them come out of hibernation?
Well, I think the reason, like for the ones that were dried out, if you think about, okay, they're dried out, and so they really just can't move anymore until they get some sort of moisture to kind of unlock kind of the joint. That's what I was thinking. Like all that is. But I was just thinking, I just think any kind of moisture because they were like basically mummified in that point. If they're not getting enough, they just basically mummified zombies. And then we get water to them. And granted, that's not really how it works, but I can see them saying that. Now for the hibernation thing, and again, I'm thinking about more like Walking Dead. But remember in Walking Dead, when Michonne had those zombies attached to her, and she was like, if you cut off like the arms and the lower jaw, they just kind of walk around because they can't get anything. And I'm thinking the hibernation was kind of like that since there was no one to keep them moving, or there's no reason for them to move because there's nothing to eat. They just kind of they say hibernate, but I just think they're just being non-reactive because there's nothing to react to. And that's why
I think Michonne's though, if you had walked by them, they would have reacted to these.
Yeah,
I had to wake them up. And so I was like,
different world. But I do see but I do see the point that, okay, I mean, I can understand when they said hibernate, it's like, okay, so they have nothing to react to. There's no lights, there's no noise, there's no one walking around, there's nothing. And so eventually just start slowing down. And they're the dumb zombies, not the smart ones anyway. And then they just stop moving because there's no reaction. And then once they start getting something, like she was moving around when she went to that, when she was directed the wrong way and all that, they were starting to get some sort of stimulation and it kind of got them kind of going. So I don't think it's a need for blood. It's more, because I mean, they're zombies. They're not really digesting anything. It's just this need to eat, not necessarily a real desire to eat or chomp or whatever, but not necessarily, they don't really need it. And so it's more like a reactionary thing. So we have no stimulation. They just stop reacting.
So let me ask you that along these same lines, because another thing that I saw that I had a question about was in previous zombie things, I'm not used to zombies and maybe there have been some, but in general, zombies being attracted to other zombies. So again, like with The Walking Dead, if you put the zombie blood on you, the zombies weren't attracted to you. Now, I mean, I want to say there was something that I did see where it was a little bit different, or maybe a book. I've had so much zombie stuff that it's all whatever. But I thought it was interesting when the guy cut a zombie hand off and put it in the microwave and used it to get the other zombie to follow, okay, to get where he wanted to go. And what he said was, they're not reacting, I guess, to the smell, they're reacting to the heat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and
go ahead.
I see, and I really don't see that, but I mean, I can understand, well, because they always talking about when they were zombies, they get so cold, and one of the things they were reacting to, or somehow they are thinking that they can feel the heat off the body, and that's a person and not another zombie or inanimate object. And granted, I think it's a heated hand. It's like, what do they have? Like, I didn't understand that as much as, like, do they have, heat vision? Because I don't know how you can. I can see if you have it close enough to him, he realizes, but throwing it away, I didn't see how he could understand that that's where he needs to go. We got two live bodies right behind you that's right there, and bigger for that matter. So that one I didn't make sense to me, because if it was just by heat, they'll go to a light switch and be like, oh my gosh, a light, let me eat it. So I don't think to me, I don't see that. If it was more like he was heating raw meat and throwing it, I could see that, because you have smell and heat maybe, but just another zombie hand, I didn't understand why that would attract more than the live people that was like right behind them.
And that's why when they did the first one without doing that, I was like, now come on, y'all. We all know they are not going to just walk over to the safe when there's meat and yumminess standing right beside them. So I was like, all right. So I didn't really like that first one, because I was like, come on, we're all, again, y'all, I need the movie to be smarter than me, or at least on the same level. Like, I would not have done that, So I was like, really? That was just a waste of time.
Well, yeah, I wanted to say something quickly. I feel like the movie, like, especially even with some characters, like being invested in some of the storylines, like they'll cut to another part so quickly. I'm like, I was getting into it. I was like invested, and then snap, there's a quick edit. I'm like, don't do that. Like, that took away some points from the movie for me, because I was invested in a couple of those side storylines. The big storylines, I mean, whatever, but some of those side stories were getting intriguing, and then boom, we're in the dark alley, or boom, we're back in the, I don't know. I felt like even with Dana's questions she's asking us, also I had questions with the characters. Like, why are some of these stories being either not finished, or if we're building up to something, we're just going to cut it off. Like Snyder just said, okay, like we're done with that, like on to the next one. And I felt he should have, even though it was a long film, he should have let that played out a little bit more. And then you cut to something else. Like, don't in the middle of your storyline or your catch, just like let us go. And that happened not once or twice. That happened like 4 times. And I was like,
I do remember it, because I was like, oh, okay, we're going to go back to them. And they're just standing there. Like, I prefer, like, I think when the two guys were in the safe, or they were doing the stuff with the safe and we were watching them, I was like, oh, really interested in it. And then I remember they went back to the casino, and Bautista and them are like just standing there, like waiting for the safe to be. And I'm like, I don't care if I don't care what they're doing. Go back where we were, or something. But yeah, I have to agree with that. I thought that.
So to finish what I was saying is that, basically they just made you care about several characters that I didn't expect to care about, right? And then the action scenes, like Dana was saying, there's some of the action scenes that I had never seen before. It was extremely gruesome and all that kind of stuff. And some of them I even read today. There is a scene, and I really think that this is the one that they're talking about, is the scene with the woman who was starting to be the love interest of Bautista. I don't like that.
I love that scene.
Okay, so that scene, though, where she gets her neck broken, supposedly that is a practical effect.
Oh, I can believe that.
Like there's so much CGI or a good bit of CGI in this movie, but they also did a lot of practical effects in this movie as well. Like all the makeup and everything like that. But the scene in particular where her neck gets broke, supposedly that is a practical effect. And if that was that, like that makes that scene like so much more for me, like, you know, a lot higher because that was already a really great scene to begin with. Because I did not expect that.
I love practical effects, like better than CGI.
Absolutely.
I felt like, because when we go back and look at some of the things, they're scarier. I don't because it feels more real to me. Yeah. So I think, that I really love that scene where her neck, because I didn't see it coming. Once again, we knew the zombie might, bite her or something, right? We didn't know that. And we were, again, I had enough of her story. I didn't want her to die.
Right.
That's right, Stacy. I didn't want her I didn't want her to get hurt. And so I was like, well, damn. But again, that made the movie more enjoyable because they were keeping it real. Like if that really had happened and she was standing there, she would have got killed.
It did.
One thing I want to say, I want to piggyback on something Jeremy said. And I know, Corey, you looked into this. So obviously we need to talk about how the film was, I guess, filmed in terms of these zooming in and zooming out. Now, first of all, I was aware going into this movie about the replacement actor that was put in here. Apparently, I don't even know who the original actor was. Some things went down. They had to be replaced. And the woman who replaced them, my understanding, I know she wasn't in any actual scenes with Bautista. I don't know about the other actors. So initially, when I was seeing all that zooming in and out, I thought it was distracting because I thought they were trying to do that to cover up the fact that she wasn't there and trying to make it appear like she was. So I was like wondering, and I know they did it all over the whole movie, but I thought it was just to try to make the whole movie look more cohesive than it may have actually been filmed. And so it actually bothered me. So I know Corey looked into it and apparently it was done because it immerses you as the viewer more into the movie, but apparently it doesn't work for everybody.
I was reading and listening to some other podcasts of where it's the rack focus and the depth of field that Zack Snyder was shooting with to make you more immersive into actual being in the scene and being with these characters and drawing their emotion out a little bit more. So it was a technique that he tried to use. And they also did a different technique as well. Instead of it being like letterbox, they made it basically the full aspect widescreen ratio. So that way the movie is really big and in your face, especially because people are going to be watching this at home versus going to see it in the theaters. So he did a combination of both of those two things to make it more immersive. But I totally understand what you're saying, that the rack focus and the depth of field may throw people off because they may think something's wrong because it wasn't always necessarily in focus in the times when it's supposed to be, right?
Right.
For me, what that felt like was I had my glasses off.
Yep.
And if I was in a zombie apocalypse and I lost my glasses, I'd only be able to see what was 3 feet in front of me.
Yep.
So there's a scene out in the open when the zombies come in and then they leave. And when they leave, they go off into the blur.
Yep.
Which, if you had your glasses or if you have, if you're farsighted, there's no blur, and they don't go off into this little soft focus void.
Mm-hmm.
You can still see them, but I think there's a level of, ooh, that's really disconcerting. Yep. They just kind of went off into the fog of war. You don't know what's 10 feet away from you.
Yeah.
And I think that for me, that added more to it, but it was very obvious that the movie was playing with you because movies don't usually do that.
Nope.
And I think had it made sense all the time, I probably would have gone for it. But what they were doing is, so there's one scene in particular, because I told Corey when we were watching it, so it's with the queen.
When we first get her.
She is like 2 feet from you and she is a blur, right? You can't see her. then she's 10 feet and she's crystal clear. Like so maybe he's trying to hit everybody, the nearsighted and the farsighted people. And just like, so maybe that's what he's doing. But it confused. I was like, what are you doing exactly? Like, I get it would be blurry the further somebody gets away from you, right? But if they're blurry here and clear here, but I guess again, if he's trying to get everybody, maybe that's what it was. But I did find it distracting a little bit. Yeah. But again, I don't know how distracted I would have thought it was if I hadn't known they had replaced the actress and thinking or brought in the actress, because I don't even know who was there beforehand. And didn't feel like, oh, they're just doing this to make her blend. I don't even know if that's the case, but that's just what, because she was blurred a lot. So that's just kind of what I felt. So I don't know if that's true. Let's talk babies, y'all.
Babies.
What we think about zombies being pregnant and having babies?
My question, I knew as soon as when the queen zombie went up to the king, whatever, and he had his head against us, like, looking for that baby. Yeah. But my question was it she got pregnant as a zombie, or was she pregnant when she got bitten? And that's because I didn't really want to think about zombies doing it, but they're smart. Maybe. But I was thinking,
like they would get ready to kiss and be all over each other. They
were doing that little, but see, you're not.
I think that when he went to Vegas, because a lot of time passed. A lot of time was passing during the apocalypse, the opening credits, and
that's true, because he's got a job and all this.
But it's zombies, so it could have been like a longer gestation time.
I don't know. You're hoping they're having babies, girl.
Because I hadn't seen the baby kids.
He was starting a harem.
Harem. So maybe. Yeah. Because that's why I was wondering why I was keeping the women there, and it's like, sorry, gosh. At what point did you turn?
Well, but you know what? Maybe the baby did have to be conceived before becoming a zombie, and that's why he didn't turn those women into zombies yet.
Yeah, and that's my concern. That was what I was thinking of, is that he was keeping them there, saying if they're pregnant, if they're pregnant, turn them. I don't know. I wasn't sure or clear about that, so I was thinking about that kind of aspect of it.
Well, you take that, the hibernation, and the dehydration. Those are the three things that they need to write in and
have a movie about
right?
it. And I was thinking this was you could have some other movies, because like the Sharknado thing with the up team movies, with Army, Army of the Dead kind of a thing. Now, I did have a question, which I wanted to ask. I've asked my parents and my brother and all this about this. Okay. Because it's zombies, and everybody here probably has watched, we've seen this movie and we've seen other movies. So you have a loved one, could be your wife or your husband, your parents, siblings, whoever. You have a close loved one.
I know what you're going to say.
And they get bit by a zombie. What do you do? Give me a second.
Sorry, Corey,
I'm giving you some options here. Now I'm talking more, and when I was watching this, when I thought up the question was when watching and I'm sorry for my my clock, which is gonna go off. Give me 1 second, and I can mute it for a second.
It's fine.
What with Walking Dead is when they get bit by a zombie, they actually get sick. So it's not like immediate turn, and you're there. So you get sick, and then you die and come out of a zombie. So it's not a sudden thing. So that's why I think so they get bit. They've gotten bit. They know they've gotten bitten. Do you take care of them while they're getting sick? And then when they turn, you kill them? Do you kill them before they even turn? What do you do? What would you do?
So because I think the humane thing is to kill them, I would kill them.
Okay, my question. So you'll kill him like he's just gotten bit, and we're talking.
No, wait, I wasn't finished.
Okay, go ahead.
He'll be like, "Oh, I think you got bit." I was wrong. No.
Make sure it's not just the flu first.
Right.
Like,
Dana said, train to Busan. Boom.
So I would make sure not only were they bit, but they were at a point.
Don't say they. He's right there. He's been bit.
Well, you say it could be my parents or anybody.
I'm just saying in this case, you got a close person right there. Like,
well,
you're not married.
We talked about this last night, so
We
he's
did talk
fully aware of this.
Okay.
Like, if you're suffering, and we've already said our last words, if I have to leave for whatever, I'm not going to leave him there to turn into a zombie. I've read books where we hear it from the zombies' point of view. They don't want to be zombies. So I don't think he's going to want to. You could tell even with Bautista, it was a painful transition. Mm-hmm. What kind of life is this to live? Because even though the alphas was supposed to be smart, they were dumb as rocks. Like, I don't know where the smart was, other than they may have been organized, but they weren't smart in the way that, no. Anyway, that's a whole different subject. But so, yes, no, I would, and it wouldn't be easy. But, this is what I told Corey. Have you ever had things that scare you, but you've had to man up and do them? And you just somehow find that strength and courage to do it. That's what it would be. So even though I joke about it, it wouldn't be like, okay, let's do this. I wouldn't be like that at all. But I would feel like this was something that I had to do for my loved one, and that they would want me to do it, or whatever. So yeah.
Okay.
I would hope he'd do the same for me. Please don't leave me like that.
I'd let you bite me.
Oh yeah, we did say that. We just kill each other.
We just kill each other.
And then we'd go next door to that noisy neighbor.
And then Corey
them
would come
too.
back like without remorse, saying, I am invisible.
Okay. Anybody else? Come on, this is for everybody. It wasn't really for just Dana. It's for everyone.
It would be hard, but I think you'd have to.
Okay.
You'd have to do it.
So at what point, though, are you doing when they get bitten and they're going to turn, or you're going to wait till they get sick and die, and then as they come back, kill them?
So I'm going to do it before they come back.
I'll do it after.
I know it's happening.
I'd do it after, because after, I don't know you anymore. Like, you're a completely different person and thing. Like, if you're still the same way you are now, but you're just sick, I couldn't do that.
Well, that's probably good, because I think I just murdered somebody.
Yeah, because you're still there.
Right.
Like you're still there. I can have a conversation with you or whatever. You're just sick. But if you die, you turn into a zombie. Your soul, all that stuff is gone. So like, you're a completely different thing. Like, I would have no problem doing it then, but before then, I couldn't do that.
Jeremy, what you trying to say?
So Corey, you're saying like when they come back, their soul, their spirit, everything in their incarnation has changed.
Yeah.
But before, they're still able to have they're still breathing, obviously living.
Yeah.
I mean, you have me thinking a little, because at first I was like, dang, I was like, nah, you ain't hanging around. I'm just going, take you, and make it happen. But I do see what you're saying though, Corey, because to me, there's always a guilty conscience of like, dag, like, what if that person could have fought through it or then change, a lot of what ifs. So Stacey, to your question, I mean, at first, I mean, I don't know. I think I would have to, I would just use my parents. Obviously, I'm not married, don't have a significant other, but if it was one of my parents, I would. I don't know, but seeing them suffer, though, it is something about a living human being you really love, care for, and would die for. Mm-hmm. And to see them suffer through something, man, that's a hard one, because I know even though they would be dead and would come back, that suffering would haunt me for life. And I think that's why a lot of people with mental health and all that, like, they're like, man, that stuff gets to them. I don't know. I feel like I would have to maybe do it before. I don't know. That's hard.
We're going to do it at the perfect time. We're going to do it as they start to transition. Because if you wait too long, I mean, depending on whose zombies these are, right? Because World War Z zombies are very different from these. You may not have time to get them before they get you. So I think it's a very delicate.
Well, and I was specifically because when I asked the question, when I first was thinking of that question was because of The Walking Dead. I was looking at The Walking Dead versions of zombies. So it wasn't a quick turn. It's really okay. You get sick unless they eat you. You know, they get sick and then you eventually just die, and then you'll die and then you come back. And I mean, I just wanted to hear. Brian kind of said you'll kill, but you didn't say at what point. But
I'm about to.
Okay.
Because I'm listening. I'm like, you know what? Don't you want to see your loved one as a zombie? Like totally see what they turn into? Just see how crazy, freaky they get. You know, are they going to be the one that just like, totally amazing?
See that in the movies.
Hell no.
But I mean,
I'm
like
turn all blue.
The question, because when I asked the people, I asked like my parents and my brother and all that, and when their responses were different, but it kind of correlated to how I would think they would react. So my mom was like, "I'll kill you." But she was like, she wouldn't let you just kill you right away. She wouldn't do that. She wouldn't let you suffer. She's like, once you died, I'm killing you. And that's what I would do too. Is like, I'm not going, oh, you got bit, I'm gonna shoot you.
Right.
But I'm, wait till you get to die and whatever. My brother, on the other hand, was more like, so we're gonna drive out and I'm gonna push you out and I'm gonna keep going because I can't see you suffer, but I'm not killing, but I can't kill you. I'm gonna leave you somewhere, you'll turn, and eventually if I see I might have to kill you, but you're gone.
So anybody you come across, they're on their own. And you're gonna make more zombies.
And pretty much, I guess he didn't ask me for details. And my dad was like, I just can't kill y'all. And I was like, you're so sweet.
Stacey, I think a great follow-up question would be, what's the method? Like, how would people? Obviously, you said he would drive him out, then drop him like,
okay, you're still alive. I'm like, I'm sick. He just gonna send me out there. It's like, yeah, because I just couldn't kill you, but at the same time, I ain't taking care of you until you die.
Jeremy, I'm gonna piggyback on what you said because this is another question, and we have a question to ask the group too.
Okay.
So one of the things I talked about to Corey when we were watching this is people's weapons of choice. Okay. And most people bring guns, shoot them in the head. So we had the one guy who bought the circular saw that probably weighs, I don't know, let's say 50 pounds. Then it's gas powered, so we're not gonna have any gas out here. We realize that we're going to be able to find and deal with. So I need all y'all to carry some gas, which is what we thought, but then that gas is actually going to be used for the helicopter. So maybe only one of those, the helicopter and, now I'm getting ready to go off on a tangent. The helicopter and it's going to run the generator that's going to operate the entire hotel off of 5 gallons of gas. Okay. So anyway, whatever. So I thought his weapon of choice was not a good idea. Because here's my thing. I don't really want to have to be close to you unless I have no choice. My idea is to kill them as far away from me as possible and never let them near me. So Corey and I were talking about what weapon would we want to carry? And it has to be somewhat realistic. So we can't say a gun that never runs out of bullets. But it has to be something that's kind of realistic. So I wanted to ask everybody, if you were here, what would your weapon of choice be?
For me, I know it wouldn't be a gun. You have to do a headshot each and every time, and I know I can't do a headshot each and every time. Also because guns run out of bullets, and also they are loud and they attract other zombies. So I wouldn't do that. I would probably do something more the lines of a machete or a hatchet. Granted, it's closer, but it's or a sword. I mean, something like that you can actually. You can use an effective, but also it's not going to run out of bullets. And I did take the axe throwing thing, and I'm pretty good at it. I'm actually pretty better than I thought at it. So at least I can have an idea that I can throw a hatchet or throw an axe, kind of a thing. But at the very least, that machete, if you have something like that, that can be used besides killing zombies. So I want something that's going to be used, and it's not like the circular saw, whatever that thing he was using, is like that weighs it, like you said, it had these gas and it weighs a ton. And if you've ever used stuff like that, there's a good chance it can, with its bloody slip from his hands and he's cutting his own leg off. So to me, something like a machete or axe or hatchet or something like that, those at least can be used besides killing zombies. And if there's enough zombies, you're gonna die anyway. I mean, if it's so many of them, it's just it's not really, nothing's really gonna work. But if you're trying to just survive, I would think something like that would work better than a gun. Unless you're a sharpshooter, you can shoot in the head each and every time and never run out of bullets. And then the ones you attract, are slow. I mean, I really think something that's not going to lethal, but not loud and doesn't run out of bullets. So machete or axe or hatchet, something like that.
You've done some serious thinking about this, Stacey.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, Jeremy, what's your weapon?
My weapon, I would say if not an axe, a crossbow. So doing archery.
All right, Daryl.
Huh?
I said, all right, Daryl, we got our Walking Dead folks here.
And here's my rationale about that crossbow. You can take a lot of those things are light. I mean, you can put a bunch of them. You can really stock up on them. Dana's point about distance. So I know that I can hit some from a distance. I don't have to, they don't make a lot of noise, unless something goes awry. You pretty much can make a least amount of noise, lots of arrows you can do. And then it's a weapon in which you can also like carry something else. Like if I could carry a crossbow and a hatchet or a machete or something, but I would say crossbow. And then I would not do a gun because of the ammo. You said no unlimited ammo, so that would be dumb to run out of bullets.
You can carry it like Rambo. I mean, but it just can't be unlimited because that, And Stacey can help you with your crossbow.
There you go.
I took archery.
That too. That's right.
Yeah, so I would do like I this is a fun question because like I hit up my parents and my mom said a baseball bat and my dad said an axe. So that would he would do the axe thing too, but I say crossbow. So that's gonna be my final answer.
So in gardening, there's in like permaculture gardening, people are doing this thing called chop and drop, where you have this little sickle and you've got some plants like weeds. Most people would call them weeds, but you have the curved sort of sickle kind of blade. So the opposite of the machete, the blade goes the other way. So you kind of cut and you go like that to get them. So I think that would be super effective. Kind of like, the classic death character's sickle. Mm-hmm. Where you're reaping, the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
And I because you've got a long, it's got a kind of on a long pole, and I think that would be an interesting tool for zombie cutting.
All right, Corey.
But I like the archery aspect too.
You would have to watch out for Brian carrying that around. You're gonna.
I'm not standing next to him.
Chop and drop.
Right.
So this
just leave all the parts down to fertilize the plants you're trying to grow. Good.
This is going to sound kind of crazy, but I think I might try and do this. I probably wouldn't be successful at it, but I would try. So I don't know if you guys have seen Kill Bill. And the lady who was in the Crazy Eights who had the ball? Yeah.
I knew you were going to say the ball.
On the chain or whatever. I would have like something like that had like spikes on it and stuff. And just swing the hell out of that thing across any kind of zombie to the head.
Yeah. That's what I would get stuck in the meat because I thought about that too when I was like, would it get stuck in somebody's head? And I
don't know. I mean, I would think that the zombie's head would be so decayed that when you hit it, it just like falls off maybe or something. I mean, depending on how old these zombies could be. I mean,
did we see a ball with nails coming out of it?
It was
in the movie?
Lucille. We saw a bat with nails.
Saw a bat. Yeah, the Lucille bat. Yeah, but that's probably what I would use, something like that. At first, I was going to go with a gun, but all y'all keep waning off of guns and making sense.
But I do think if the five of us are doing it, somebody should have a gun because
the gun is to me more for people. I mean, we go from the if we go more like Walking Dead kind of a thing. After a while, it was the people that were the issue, and the gun would deter a person versus anything else.
The governor.
I almost feel like realistically, we'd all have to have a gun and this other item.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had to pick a gun, it would be a assault rifle. Do not get no little 9mm. Do not get a shotgun. I would get,
Okay, so I was gonna say the same thing you were gonna say. Is maybe an assault rifle, but then if you think about it, the girl who died in this movie that we were talking about earlier, she's in a close range with these zombies. Like they're way, way close. I don't know that I would necessarily feel comfortable with a assault rifle being able to get them in the head when I need to. But if I had a little small handgun, boom, 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 right then that's what she was doing. She had 2 of them and she was just like taking them out, left and right. So I don't know. It depends on the situation of where you are.
True.
So and y'all can push back on me. I know this exists. I don't know if it's been weaponized yet. Okay. So, but it does exist. So I was thinking about a laser gun. And in my thought, so you know how when they do operations, they use it to tear open the skin, to cut open the skin and things like that. So I was like, oh, a laser. I mean, because even like the lasers you can get for printing at home, like wear these special glasses, don't look at the ball. And I was like, has anybody seen Resident Evil? Mm-hmm. And if you've seen the initial one where they're down in the hive and the lasers come on and they have to jump over the laser and go under it, and then it turns into like it's covering the whole place. And the man that they cut, now I don't know if that's the first or the second one where they cut him all in little squares, but they were lasers, right? And they just cut that man all in little bitty chunks. So I was like, if I could have a laser and like they're all running at us, I just take my laser and go.
As we all die around you,
right?
But I can't get the short ones, because some of them might slip through. But like I feel like I can do this, and kind of.
How's it being powered though? Or
right.
How long is it gonna last?
So I thought about that. So it will not be indefinite, but I feel like the payoff is that the quantity. So I don't know how they're honestly. I don't know. So they're either going to be rechargeable, which we won't be able to recharge, or well, I guess we can recharge it now. We have electricity with the generator, but nobody has time for that. Oh, let me plug in my laser for an hour.
We get it solar powered.
But still, that means I have to leave it out, and at some point it will be unusable. But I don't know. But yes, it wouldn't be. I'm not even thinking it would be indefinite. Because honestly, nothing we have is going to be, even a blade eventually will get dull if you use it. So nothing's going to be indefinite, but I think it could be doable.
At least with the blade you can carry, you can carry something to sharpen your blade again. Yeah. I mean, as soon as you're finished, you're like, oh, sharpen the blade, and it's hey, I'm still. And it won't
weigh 100 pounds like gas and a saw. Now in hindsight, I guess they had them have the saw so they could cut a hole in the wall, which I didn't understand, because part of me thought, wouldn't it have been easier to cut the
lock
up set? Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, no.
Well, it's too heavy to put over his head because it's too heavy.
I don't know. So I didn't understand that.
That was awesome. I thought it was great because we were talking about that other movie where they cut through the hole into the next building. And then here they are, they're cutting through the hole in the concrete. And it was like, oh, they just needed one of these. And spend just, 30 more seconds on explaining, and showing, cutting the hole through the wall. Anyway, I didn't think about use it on the gate. That's awesome. Yeah.
Dana, did you feel like the kills were effective? Like a lot, like Corey was saying, there was a bunch of shooting, one up in the chin, stabbing. Did you feel like the kills were what you wanted, or did you feel like you think the kills were effective enough?
I felt the zombie killings were fine because I think we're all kind of used to that. Like, just shoot them in the head is all we care about. You don't have to get fancy with it for me, but the killings of the humans, that I did feel like I said earlier, those killings were what I wanted them to be, what I needed them to be for me to, have enjoyed this movie. Kind of like when y'all made us watch Hellraiser. I didn't see some of the stuff going in that, I wasn't used to that. That's not usually what, we see. Corey knows, like, one of the things that freaks me out more than anything is somebody pulling somebody's jaw down, taking it off like that. And here we have it. Boom, right on.
First 10 minutes.
Not only do we get that, but then he's walking around without his jaw. So, Yeah, definitely. And here's the thing. It is a combination of good kills and unexpected kills. Again, I go back to the potential love interest in the neck break. I did not see that coming, and they did such a great job to me. It wasn't cheesy. Like, you know, even though there were cheesy moments that happened throughout there, and there were some issues I had with that, the kills weren't one of those. I felt like they did a good job with the kills. I have to say this just because it's cheesy moments. I hear that the lady that they brought, the actress that they brought in after the fact, was a comedian.
Yeah, she's a comedian, big Notaro. Yeah.
I'm sure she's a great person, but like, I did not like a lot of her lines. I was like, no, stop it. You tried too hard. And that's not her, because that's how it was written. I was not feeling it.
Yeah, she's the one character I wasn't feeling at all. Her and the daughter, actually, I wasn't feeling either.
Okay, that was my question. How do we feel about the daughter? Yeah.
I don't think we were meant to really like her that much.
Yeah.
Right? Because she seems like, you know, like she's mad at her dad not giving him a chance. And for what we've seen, he seems like, you know, we don't really know enough to know what they're truly like, right? So she just seems like a little bratty kid, you know, who has his dad who loves her and would do anything, you know, because he had a picture of the whole family together. And we're thinking the whole time that she's mad at him because he did something we just all said we would do. So therefore, it's like, girl, get over it. What else did you want me to let your mom come over here and kill you or whatever? So I thought it was very interesting to find out that's not what she was mad at. But honestly, I feel like a lot of what happened was her fault. So I didn't like that. That bothered me. I was like, if you hadn't been going to try, this woman made a choice to go in there knowing she had those two children and could potentially die. She told you to watch over her kids if something happened to her. That's what you should have done. You did not need to go in there and try to find her with your no training self, you know, or whatever. I just thought
she went in there and died. Now you're really messed up.
Yeah, you have no idea if she was dead or alive. And so now you're gonna risk everything.
Exactly.
So nobody's watching over those kids at this point. Exactly. If you die for a potential. And the lady was saying, I found one guy came back after missing for 3 days. Like, how many days has it been since this lady disappeared? And it don't matter. She's probably dead anyway. And I mean, she bothered me because I was like, so you're gonna risk everything to try to find this one woman. She's not the first person to do that in that whole camp. She's not the first person. She's the only one just you happen to know. And I don't know.
How does it make her feel? Your dad is dead because of you. I'm just saying.
I mean, everybody is dead. I mean, up to a point. But I'm not because of her necessarily, but part of it is because of her. The other part was the other guy with the head. It's like, so out of all the zombies, you're gonna take the head of. You're gonna take the head of the queen. The one.
And why? That's a question I asked Corey. So who is it worth money? Like what? Who knew the queen was there?
Well, I mean, I know he wasn't really going. I think he was just looking for any of the smart zombies. But I'm just saying, because she's that smart, you see that they're not smart, but you know, they see they have. You can tell that they have kind of a structure because they're actually taking the stuff in it. So you know she has to be important. Those two zombies had to be some importance, and those are the ones you're gonna kill. You know, you have to kill that one. And take the head. It's like, and you think they're not going to do anything? You know,
how has this man who apparently has gone on all the other missions, because God knows how many of these that have happened, right? How's he even managed to survive? I can't believe.
Well, I don't think he's been there before. I think that was his first time going there because he was just hired. He just knew he was hired for, but I don't think he was any of those other trips. He's been with those other trips. This is his first trip.
I
think was the other blonde girl. She's the one who's been in, could tell them about how the zombies were acting or how they were acting.
But
the whole thing
was he was very familiar with the hotel, the layout, and how the generator worked, and those kinds of things. You think he just studied that going?
Well, I mean, I think he did study, because I think the reason why they had all the plans and stuff like that, because that was their hook to get people there. Mm-hmm. And he, but I don't think he necessarily was going there for the money. He was like, that's the hook for y'all to get here. But my hook is just to get this head. And I really just think the whole head, could we have just gotten a sample of their body? I don't know. But The whole thing is, why didn't you just take it when you first got in and just take the head? Oh yeah, that'd be in the movie. And take it
and leave.
And then leave.
Why hang out with everybody else? I have no idea.
Right,
I'm gonna go up to the helicopter, you know, hold the woman.
As soon as you saw her and saw, okay, shoot them, got the head, we gone. Let's go. That was the whole point. I didn't need y'all for anything but that. And since they came to us, I don't need y'all at all. Let's go.
And then why did they need and as we look back on this, you know, talk about people who are, what do they say, couch quarterbacks or whatever, but why did they need the money? Because like the guy already got his money back from the insurance company, so he really didn't need the money. So this is like something I was kind of confused about. So that's the guys, what I took this to be, is that is his hotel, because he said he already got the insurance money back from the money that was in the safe they gave it. So I'm assuming this is his hotel. Why doesn't he know the combination to the thing for his hotel? Then I got confused, because if it's one that's just random, well, did they have a key fob? Like, I didn't understand all that, because I was like, wait a minute, this is his hotel. Why? And he obviously knows a lot about it. So why didn't he just tell them what the...
I think really he was using these people as just bait so he can get the head and stuff like that. Right. And that's all he was using them for. Yeah. Now the whole thing, because I think, you know, when he said first, like, why would you want the money if it's been insured? It's like, rich people gonna rich. They just like, if I can get more money, then might as well. And that's what's gonna attract other people, because when when the YouTuber and they were putting money, they hadn't even gone into the safe. I'd be like, just grab that and like, let's go. I mean, that would be it. I don't have to open the safe when, technically speaking, there was money and coins to be found without even going that far. Without having to go into the safe. Because at that point, you know, if you go to the casino part of it, there will be money in that part of it without you going to the safe to get money. That's all you're going. That's what those other people were doing. They were just getting money out of those safes instead of going, not the safes, but you know, when you bring your ticket, not the slot machines, but you bring your ticket up to the front and they were like, oh, here's my ticket for X amount of dollars, and they give you that money there. That's
what the lady was going in there for. The one like the kids, she was going.
That's it. And I was just, so I mean, and I know it's supposed to be, again, I think we had this thing. So how's it gonna get all this money? Because that was like a whole lot of money they said. I was like, how you gonna carry all that?
That's what I said to court. People don't realize money is very heavy. Like, I don't know where y'all think y'all just gonna be carrying that out on your backs. Mm-hmm. Like okay, so 2 things I have to say. I know this is running long, but there's just so many things. Number one, Stacey knows how I feel about this. I wish there had been a Black woman in here. That's all I'm saying about that. Okay. So next thing I wanted to say, and I think it's something they touched on, gave us just a little bit and then just left us there. The whole time loop thing. Can we explain why the 3 people that were dead inside right before the safe had on the same clothing, it appeared to be, as Bautista, the lady with the key around her neck. And I don't know who the third one was. What was that?
That was a real neat little red herring, wasn't it?
It was. I wish they had gone down that rabbit hole a little bit.
Right.
If that first guy we saw break out had been that black guy, how neat would that have been, right? If we have found out, because that means he got back out into civilization, whatever. And now, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe that doesn't make sense. I don't know. But like,
there's an interesting twist. It would have been an interesting
something. You gave us that, and I was like, ooh. You know, and then you didn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of the genre mishmash. So it's like earlier we said, well, which kind of zombie movie is this going to be? Is it going to be like this? Is it going to be like the TV show? Is it going to be like this zombie world? But it's like the Ocean's 11 zombie movie. It's like, what if it's Ocean's 11 with zombies? And that's what they did. So I think that's going to be pretty neat if Snyder does more of them. I mean, they'd set up for a sequel. Then my question about the setup is he a regular zombie or is he an alpha zombie?
Well, he was bit by the alpha. Well, we think he's bit by the alpha. So they said the ones bit by the alpha were the smarter ones. So
he was bit by the alpha. Yeah, you're right.
yeah, I mean, because we assumed. Well, when
Did he get bit in the safe?
No,
Before
he got because he wasn't even and actually you didn't really see that he got bit because he saw that the zombie was going for it, and then the German guy hit him or whatever, and you assume that he did not bite him. Yeah. But then he goes to the safe. When he was closing the safe, I was like, oh my gosh, he's gonna just die in there. Because when he said that safe, he said the safe, it's if he messes up like 3 times or something like that, it's gonna lock forever. Yeah. And so when he closed, I was like, I don't know if that's better.
Well, he would have to turn the thing to make it lock. That's what I'm telling myself. So I don't think it was a lock.
I was like, hopefully it is, because okay, so I'm gonna just starve and die in here, Right. So it was not a good. I was like, I'd rather just be killed by the zombies at that point. If I gotta, if I'm going.
Who wants to die in a safe? First of all, there's a bomb going off, so we're not 100% sure if this bomb is gonna. Okay, let's also say everybody has cancer who survived anyway. Like, I was like, this
exactly. He come walking out of there, no problem.
Like, I was like, this is kind of anyway. But yeah, but now I don't know, Stacey, if he was bitten before, maybe he got bitten on his way out. I don't know anymore. But either way,
I mean, they never said, I don't think. But then when he gets out and he's like screaming, "Help, help!" and then he walks with the money and he rents the and he rents the jet. Now, I mean, he walks and then he gets in the car, and I'm not sure how far he drives, but I'm thinking
he took a long time to change.
But no, not just a long time to change, because I mean, he got bit and he wasn't really sick, so maybe that's why he wasn't injured. So it wasn't, I don't know. I'm not sure what maybe caused, but also he didn't take. If it does take him not that long to change, but it should take some time. But he's around Vegas. If someone walks up and I'm working at the kiosk at the airport, or I'm working at the airport, and someone walks up and I want to rent that, and they bring all this money out of it, I guess maybe because it's COVID now, we need to have a little check before you go somewhere, because you're in the radius of where we have zombies. And I just thought, and maybe that's why I was just thinking, so you're just going to let him get on the plane.
Mm-hmm. That was all BS.
I know, but I mean, even with all the money, I was like, okay, I would take, we still got to get your temperature check or do something, because you're leaving in an area around the zombies, because he hasn't been gone that long, and that car was crap. I'm sure he didn't have to drive that far. So we'll say he may be 100 miles away from. I was like, anybody within a certain amount, we're gonna have to have you check before
money
you
talks. They don't care.
And he's flying internationally. Does he have his passport? Like, there are a lot of things. I mean, and the way he looked coming up to that counter, I would have been like manager and walked away. Like, I'm not dealing with this.
Or at very least, take the money. We still gotta have to get you checked, and then you can rent it out. But I mean, I just don't see that. And then the flight attendants, you feel really cool. And maybe it's because now of COVID, for a while there, if someone sneezes, you like just, when you're out and about, and I will try not to call for a sneeze, and even out, because I was like, I don't know what people think that I have something. But if you were actually touching somebody, it's like, gosh, you feel really, really cold. I'm like, I gotta talk to the you sit right there. Why don't you, and we're gonna strap you in and strap you up, and then let me get the pilot. But I'm just, that whole thing. And then when he realizes he gets bit, it's like, so moral question: if you get bit, you realize you've been bit, do you turn yourself in?
No.
Or tell someone that I've been bit?
No, because the only thing that's going to come from that is you're going to be killed. I'm not voluntarily going to.
So you're gonna just make yourself be an outbreak monkey. You're gonna go ahead and destroy a whole city of people.
That's not my fault. That's their fault.
That is your fault, because you went to. Okay,
well, all y'all are aware.
People. Yes, that's their fault, because they should have taken the money. I'm living in Mexico, just sitting down, just having my food and watching TV. And next thing you know, there's zombies because you decided not to report anything and gonna land in my city or town.
No, so I don't feel that way. So I feel like it's more like these people are aware that zombies exist. Hopefully, they've been given some idea of what to look for. That they shouldn't be ignorant to. They know these zombies exist. They know these people are here. And so I feel like if everybody were really doing their part, then I would not have made it past the airport. Like the fact that I've even made it onto the plane means somebody else didn't do their job. To expect me to kill myself, and I don't even know that it's possible, that's asking too much. I feel like at that point, you need to take the law into your hand. You have to do the killing. Don't ask me to kill myself.
Did you wear a mask this time?
Did I wear a mask where?
Nothing. I was like, nothing.
No, but seriously, like I can't, because the same way we were talking earlier about not wanting to kill people while they still have their, like, I don't believe in killing myself, so I'm not going to do that. Now, if somebody else had to keep it from spreading, I understand that, but to ask me, I mean, let's look at it this way. We're creatures, and the number one thing that we strive to do is survive. To ask somebody to willingly kill themselves, I think is harder than to ask somebody to kill somebody else that they know is sick.
So if you got bit, so what I'm just saying, like, so you got bit, you come up and sit next to me or Jeremy or Brian.
No, I'm not. I went purposely. No. Look, I don't know what happens when you turn, so I can't tell you that. My mind says, like right now, if I knew I had a disease, if I knew I had COVID, I would not come around y'all. Okay, so me as the person I am, absolutely not. I would not do that. I would stay far away from you, and I wouldn't let you come near me. I don't know what my zombie mind is going to do, but I'm not willing from a Dana mind to imagine what my zombie mind is going to do and go ahead and take my life just in case. I can't, that I'm not doing. Again, who knows? Let's be honest, I would have been dead anyway. Like none of this would ever have happened. I would have never made it through any of this. And not dead because of zombie. I would have probably just tripped over something. Like it's just, so it wouldn't be a problem. But yeah, no, I don't know. You think you would kill yourself?
Not necessarily, but I mean, if I've seen that I've been bit and I'm going on, I was like, I just couldn't just not just go there. I would have to, I know I've been bit. I'm going to turn, and then I'm going to destroy a city, or I mean, you don't know what I could be capable of destroying. I'm turning. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm going to say something, report it, or you need to do something because I'm going to turn. I'm going to kill all y'all, I guess. I just don't know. But I couldn't do that in good conscience and be like, okay, I'm not going to tell nobody. Because at that point, I'm going to, when I turn, I could be, killing people and people who have nothing to do with it. Like the airport people, yeah, they took my money. They were greedy. But when we land, that person who's at work at a job, I'm just getting out your baggage, and I'm done. That's the person who didn't ask for that. I'm just here to work. Can I just do my job in peace? And I'm just not going to tell anybody that I've gotten bit. I mean, we didn't see that he was going to tell somebody. Not at that point, he's on the plane. They were flying. I'm not sure what he could do at that point.
He knew he was bit though, all the way back in the thing. Like,
did he? Because when he looked at it, he's like looking, when he did that, he kind of looked and it's like, oh, that, I mean,
don't you feel that?
Well, I mean, and that's also what I was thinking, he may have felt, or could it be numbed up? Like, could it be like certain things that you get bit by a mosquito? I mean, depending on what it is, you don't really feel it until later on it starts to irritate you. You know what I'm saying? And he could be hopped up like, okay, adrenaline, he really did not feel it. Although I thought he got bit because how he was wearing that scarf thing. I was like, yeah, what is he? How he was wearing? I was like, yeah, he got bit. That was kind of just how it looked on me. I thought he got bit. But.
So it kind of reminds me of like the Considerate Werewolf, where you're a werewolf, it's a full moon tonight. You're the characters that lock themselves away for the night. It's like I'm gonna lock myself in the room once a month when this happens, so I don't hurt anybody. I mean, those characters happen all the time. So, but with the zombie, it's like it's not a recurring thing. So I think that I think that I think that you would. I mean, as long as you were aware and you still had some control, you'd have to do something. Like, and you see it over and over and over in these movies too. Like, they choose to ask somebody to kill them, or they pull the key off the grenade and take out a bunch of zombies with them. So, it's.
Or they're the asses who let you walk around with them, and then they turn and kill you.
No, I didn't say that.
I didn't say any names.
I didn't say that, but I'm being honest. Look, y'all all sound nice, and I think that's sweet. But I think seriously, when those movies are like, oh, just go ahead, leave me. Now I can imagine saying stuff like that or whatever. But if I know it's certain death and I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen to me, I'm telling you right now, I speak for the other half of the nation that's not going to tell anybody. So I think it's great that you are, and you should, and that's fine. But there are going to be a lot of people who aren't going to tell anybody. So whether I tell anybody or not, it doesn't matter. All y'all died eventually.
And that's why I don't believe in the honor system for the vaccine.
You shouldn't. But you should not. For the what? For the what?
For the vaccine, the honor system.
Oh, I don't either. I think it's BS. Yeah. I don't go for honor systems. I need proof. So yeah. No, I'm not an honor system person. Because I don't believe in humanity that well to go for that. Like you know, the things I do, like if I'm being honest and being a good person and everything, that's because of my religious beliefs, my family. Everybody doesn't feel the same way I do, and so I'm very aware of that. So I don't believe that everybody's good and is going to do the right thing.
Yeah, we ain't doing the right thing now. We weren't doing the right thing before COVID. So
I'm more of a believer of you need to be your first line protection instead of counting on everybody else to be it for you. So when I'm saying, hey, that's their fault. Like if everybody did what they were supposed to do, it wouldn't be a problem.
Exactly.
So I mean, who knows? But literally, I would never got turned into a zombie.
Those in the chat, leave us a comment about what you're to
those questions.
Are y'all turning yourself in real quick, Corey and Jeremy?
I probably would.
I would.
Knowing me, I probably would.
Yeah, just knowing my integrity, knowing my character, and like just kind of how you explained it, Dana. I would. I'm gonna just go with that, just for the sake of others and just thinking about the bigger picture. Yeah, I'm gonna say yes.
Okay, that's good.
But would you go knock on somebody's door that you really just didn't like first?
I like where you're
boss.
Right.
So just to sum things up, because we're doing the podcast just as long as the damn movie was. So I will say that a couple of things that bothered me, and then I'm gonna give my final score and just basically my final review, is that I really thoroughly enjoyed this movie overall. Like, it had moments where it was slow and draggy, and there are some conveniences and stuff like that that's going on, and unbelievability. There's different parts of it. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I do think that the movie is too long. They easily could have shaved off a half an hour somewhere in there. You didn't need the is it the prologue or the epilogue? The last scene with the guy getting on the plane. You didn't need any of that kind of crap. Like, they could have cut that whole thing out. You don't need to set this up for a sequel. Or
you could have, but just left his whereabouts unknown.
Yeah, like
they could have had that as the beginning of your next movie. Like, we didn't need to know what happened to him.
Right. They could have had where the bomb goes off. You have Bautista turn, blah, blah. We could have gone back to the safe and just hearing him bang on the door or seeing him trying to get out some kind of way or something like that. That's all you need to set up a sequel. You don't need this long, drawn out epilogue or whatever to carry it on. So that was kind of boring to me, and it was very predictable about what was going to happen. We knew that he was going to end up being bitten. We knew the people on the plane was going to, the stewardess was going to get bitten, all that kind of stuff. You knew that was going to happen. So you didn't need that. I also, this is gonna sound crazy, but I wish everybody had died in that helicopter crash. Like that,
they did.
that was a crazy scene. Like I really, really enjoyed that scene. It was a great crash. But I was like, oh, y'all did. Like, oh, there's no way his daughter got out without a scratch. Okay.
Oh,
and
yeah, no scratches.
Yeah, and then also taking in all of the fumes and everything from the nuclear blast. Well, like, no, you did. Like, I wish all of them had died. That would.
Didn't you say that in the Discord, Core?
Yeah. I said all of them should be dead. That's what I said in the Discord. All of y'all should be dead. And then there's some inconsistency also about like how fast people turn. You know, like Bautista had this conversation with his daughter before he turned. You know, and other people turned just instantly, like in the very beginning, and then somewhere in the middle. So it's like it's a little bit inconsistent about how soon people turn, and that's just kind of a zombie thing with all these different movies and TV shows that we get with this zombie genre. But other than that, like little nitpicky little things, I stayed with my 4. Like the 4 never left for me. There was a point where I thought it was going to dip when it was kind of slow or whatever. I didn't know where they were going, but I had fun with it. Like I had a really, really good time. And I know Stacy says she watched it again. I mean, I honestly could just throw it on and watch it again if I wanted to. You know, it's like, hey, it's a Friday night or Saturday night. What do you want to watch? Just turn it on. You know, just have it on. I thought it was really good, and it would have been interesting to see in a big theater type situation if we had done it. And I had this feeling when I was watching it that this was kind of like a HBO type original movie. Like it had that big feel to it. And HBO's been doing really good with some of the, you know, their original content and stuff, having this really big feel to it and really good. So I actually thought it was an HBO type of thing, but Netflix did a really good job with it. So I stayed with my 4. I really liked it. Thank you, Dana, for this selection because it was good.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have anything to do with it being good. Obviously, I wasn't there.
No, but you.
But no, but like, and honestly, I'd only seen the trailer for it one time, and it was like zombies. I'm in. So I'll just say mine too. I have to say all the nitpicking and joking and stuff that I do. You know, I do it on every movie that we watch. I'm always like, why is it happening? Da-da-da. But this movie really did give me what I wanted. It was very entertaining visually. It was stunning at times. And I just had a lot of fun with it. I really did. And so for me, I'm giving it a 4.5.
All right.
I think I'm going to the 4.5 too. I was going to stay with the 4, but I think, yeah, let's put it in the 4.5s. My only nitpick is that I wish that they had picked up on that line about the zombies getting wet. I wanted to see the zombie getting wet coming, you know, doing something.
Right.
That would have been cool. But since they set us up for a sequel, I'm sure it's going to rain in Vegas, and we're gonna see some zombie plant rise up from the dirt, and it'll be cool.
Have you seen The Mummy? So when the mummy comes, he's dry, and then as he gets wet, we see him, you know, well, we see him getting juicy again. Like I would love to see that with all them outside. That would be neat.
That was a way you could have set up a sequel. You could have had to start raining. You
Yeah.
know, and then the zombies start to do something.
And they're not just zombies. They're nuclear zombies.
They're nuclear zombies.
They're radioactive zombies.
Yeah.
But now they're
would-
dead. I'm
I
sure they're
would stay with my 4. Yeah, it's a good film. I feel like the inconsistencies that I mentioned before, you know, they were storyline plots they kind of left hanging or didn't explain enough. The 2 hours and 28 something minutes, I was like, yo, come on now. But I enjoyed watching the action part. Like Dana said, the blood, the gore, the zombie, that's why I like, that's my type of film. So it's right up my alley. I don't like movies that do too much of that or too little of it. So this was kind of like in the almost just right, not perfect, but just kind of in the middle. So I was pretty satisfied. The characters were pretty good. I like Zack Snyder's, like the way he does photography. He changes it up for each kind of film. So yeah, it was all right. It's 4. I feel like like Stacy, I want to watch it again. I have not, you know, the 2.5 hours was enough, but once I get some time to watch it again, I want to nitpick some things a little bit more. And Yeah, it was pretty good, but I also that ending and the stuff we just talked about, and so I don't know. I feel like 4 is content, but I would, like Corey said, I would have loved to see this in the theater because the way they did the wide ratio and the way that the TV made it, I would have loved to feel the sound effect, to feel the effects, to see the visuals a little bit amplified. The blood and all that, I'm here for it. I want to see bones and different things flying. That's what I like. So if I'm going to see it, I want to see it in full effect. But I know we're obviously not in theaters at the moment. So I took it for what it was. So 4.
And 4, I will give it a 4. And when I said I saw it again, I didn't see the whole thing. I was like, okay, let me forward through here and like let me see this part that I was thinking was missing. But the whole point of it was I was willing to do that and still enjoyed it. So I was definitely, my 4 is still going to be a 4.
Yay. All high scores. We got a good movie because we've had some hit and misses here lately. So that's good. All right.
I think they did, real quick, I was just going to say, I do think they did set it up good for a part 2, and I hope they do a sequel or something else of this.
Yeah, I could see it being a series too. I mean, it could be a new type of series if they wanted to.
It could be.
Especially with the cultures of zombies. Like I think we were talking about, like this is not your average zombie, like, so I like that they changed it up. But, like I think Stacey was saying, is it campy? Is it serious? Is it, I don't know. So that's something I did like about it. It was different.
I loved the Las Vegas aspect of it. It's the the Cirque du Soleil of zombies and the showgirls of zombies and like the male strippers of zombies. It's like, this is a different kind of zombie town. This is awesome.
Was it Liberace a zombie too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if he was yet. I think he was in the room.
He was playing.
Okay.
To start his playing the piano, and then
Liberace, but all the Elvis zombies that was great. It was good. Well done.
All right, so that was another episode of the L-5 podcast. We hope you enjoyed that. Did you see Army of the Dead? If you did, please leave a comment down below. Let us know what you thought out of 5 stars. And we will see you guys next time.
Bye.